Hi, I'm Alison from MoveSMART and Boomerang Pilates, and today you just need a ball of some kind and a chair. You're going to perch yourself on the chair and you're going to put the ball towards the top of your inner thigh. And then you just roll a little bit. This may well have some sensation connected to it, but we're not looking for it to be an alarming amount of sensation. So you gauge how much or how little pressure you put on the ball. You can roll up and down towards your knee and towards your pelvis, right? So that you're running along the line of your inner thigh, and you can roll back and forth so you're cross fibering, running across the fibers of your inner thigh muscles. And then you can change over and do the same thing on the other side. Tuck the ball in and just spend a minute, a couple of minutes moving around a little bit. The goal is not to alarm your system, but to help it to settle down a little bit, particularly if you're in a stressful situation. As most of us are these days, you can end up a little bit kind of clenched in. Your shoulders roll in, your inner thighs, your thigh bones roll into center, everything pulls in. And this is a nice way to undo that, going back and forth side to side a little bit, up and down a little bit, whatever feels right to you. And then we'll move your inner thighs. Okay, for the next bit, you really just need the chair for balance. And you're going to stand strong into one leg, bring the other leg up a little bit off the floor, and from the back of your hip, turn your leg and reach your thigh wide. So we're thinking about this primarily as an inner thigh lengthening motion, but the driver, the strength, is coming from the back of your hip. You can flex your foot, you can make some energy happen through your ankle and the side of your foot. You certainly want a bunch of energy coming into the side of your hip, and you just keep getting that sense of turn from your leg and your hip socket. So your pelvis itself and your ribs are staying really super stable. One more time, and then come on back into center and bring your leg down. Same thing, other side. Bring your standing leg strong down into the floor, lift the other leg, whatever height works for you, right? That might be lower. We don't want it to gather up mostly into the front of your hip and the front of your thigh. We're looking for this idea of opening and lengthening your inner thighs and driving from the backs of your hips. So there's going to be some work here because that's how you're lifting your leg. But mostly it's an inner thigh, outer thigh event. And you're going to try not to fall over. Still maintaining stability across your pelvis, activating your foot if that helps you to feel like you are connecting into the sides of your hips. If you tend to be hypermobile, making fists with your hands is sometimes a really good way of heightening your body's capacity to recognize work in your other joints. So this is a good little side tip. One more time. Turn, bring your leg down. Oh. So now we're going to go wide with both legs. Step one leg out to the side, step the other leg out to the side, and find your turnout from deep in the backs of your hip sockets, and then track your knees wide, reaching away from center. As you're in this position, you want to not tuck your butt. You also don't want to push your butt out behind you. You want to think of your pelvis being stable and level to the floor, and you're lining up your thigh bone, your shin, your ankle, and the middle of your foot. So if you're not super spacious here in your inner thighs, you might be more like this, where you're lining up this way, rather than you're turning your feet out more than your knees and your thighs. So whatever position works for you to get this nice consistent line, that's where you're going to work. Reaching your knees out to the side, and then pulling back in and up. And pressing out to the side, and pull back in and up. So again, we're not really looking at your thighs pushing you up and down, and we don't want something that's floppy. You want to find a sense that you are pressing your pelvis down and you're pressing your inner thighs out to the side. And then you are deliberately pushing your heels into the floor as you pull your inner thighs back to center. You want to try and create resistance, internal resistance here. And again, if you find that making fists is a helpful way for you to create a sense of control for your lower body, then go ahead and do that. Really feel your heels pressing down into the floor, and it's like they are pushing down into the floor and pulling together as you pull your legs back to center. Last two, either with fists, holding onto the chair for balance, whatever's going to work for you to find this inner hip, outer hip relationship. Last one, reach your knees out to the side and then hold. And keep sending your knees far and away. And then you can walk your feet back to center, and we're going to come down onto the floor with your chair. Okay, so here you are. You're going to come down onto the ground. You have your legs turned out like a frog. You have your heels together and your knees resting out to the side. And we're going to pause here for a moment and just double check and make sure that you're nice and stable, your pelvis is untouched, your ribs are heavy. If you need to pop a little something under your head because that's more comfortable, you go right ahead and do that. And we're going to pause in this just little inner thigh stretch for a moment. And then you're going to pull your heels down into the chair so that your butt comes up off the floor, just a little bit, and slide back down. As you reach your heels down into the chair, you want to think of your inner thighs pressing away from each other and then releasing as you come back down. So a couple more of those. Think of reaching your knees towards the side walls as you press up, and nicely controlled, come back down to the floor. And again, pull your heels down. You could end up feeling some work in the backs of your hips. That would be great. And we're going to add that on purpose. So for this next layer, your heels are pressing down, your knees are tracking wide, and you want to think about wrapping your leg bones around deep in your hip socket so that you get some work into the backs of your hips as well. And float your hips back down. 3, and ease to the floor. 2, slide back down, and then last one, press up, hold here, keep reaching your knees wide to the side, keep pressing your heels down. If this creates any strain or discomfort in your knees or your hips, then you would want to come back down and not hold, and then come down to the floor. And then we'll make some leg circles. Place one calf on the chair and bring your other leg up towards the ceiling. You can bend your knees a little bit, or your knee if you don't have the longest of hamstrings. And then from here, you're going to make small circles. So we don't need to go really big, and you're trying to find a range where there's no clicking or clunking of your leg in your hip socket. Change directions and circle the other way. Ribs stay nice and heavy on the floor. Pelvis is nice and stable so you're not tipping or rocking from side to side. And then take that leg and right from the back of your hip, turn your leg out so that your knee and your foot are pointing a little bit off to the side, and circle again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more is 8, and then change directions. Circling again the other way. 7, 6, ribs heavy, pelvis stable. 5, abdominal muscles wrapping to center. 4, 3, 2, last one. Bring that calf down onto the floor. Bring your other leg up. Flex your foot. Feel that nice sense of weight of your pelvis, the base of your ribs. Abdominal muscles wrapping into center, head, neck, and shoulders easy. And circle with your leg in parallel so your knee and your foot are pointing straight back towards you. 3, 4, 5, they're small circles. 6, 7, last one is 8. Change directions. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Pause here at center, and again, thinking about turning your whole leg right from the very top of your leg in your hip socket. So now you're in your externally rotated position. Circle again. 1, 2. You'll be surprised to hear that it's going to be 8. 7, 8, change directions. Keeping your neck nice and relaxed, your shoulders steady and stable on the floor so you're not tensing or stressing through your upper body. Last circle, come on back into center, bring that leg down. And then just take a moment here, let your legs drop down into your hip sockets. If your chair is not quite the right height for you, you could end up changing your position wherever you need to be to feel like your legs can take a moment to just ease into your hip sockets, and your ribs and your spine are relaxed on the floor. Again, you can prop your head and shoulders up as much or as little as you need to for your comfort. And then you're going to breathe. Arms down by your sides, palms facing the ceiling if that's doable for you. And breathe in through your nose so that you feel you are opening and easing and widening through your ribs, allowing your diaphragm to ease. And then exhale again through your nose, just letting the air go. There's no pressure. This isn't a workout thing. This is just a letting your nervous system settle kind of thing. One more time. And then from here, you can roll over to your side, sit yourself up, and then either go off for the rest of your day, or you could cycle through and do that whole series again and see how it changes when you do it for the second or even the third time. Have a great day. Questions, comments, pop them in down below. Bye.